Hi, and welcome to the Lone Star Play podcast, where we sit, eat, chat, and repeat. I'm your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong, and we are coming to you from Austin, Texas. The Lone Star Play podcast is produced by Texas Real Food. Go to texasrealfood.com, and you can search your city for local restaurants, stores, butchers, farmers markets, and more who are using organic, fresh, artisanal, and local sources. It's a fun site that brings all natural options all together. All right, we have a great episode for you today. I have Nathan Heath in the house. He is the owner of a brand new concept that I'm super excited to talk about. It's called cultivatetex.com. Now, that's the website, but it's, Cultivate Texas. And it's basically a way for you to garden at home. And they help, they'll help build boxes and, everything for you. So, we're going to get into the logistics of that and what's going on. It's in the Austin area right now. He's hoping to expand and do more things, but just got this started. And this is someone that's been a farmer his whole life, grew up on a farm, has done farming. In fact, on a farm for the last 10 years, sold a year ago, where he was providing, produce to literally the best restaurants in Texas. Okay. Well, specifically Austin, Olame, Emmer Rye, Barley and Swine, right? Odd Duck, right? All these places, you name it, Suerte, you name it. This guy's providing produce to them. So amazing. Well respected among chefs and restaurants and, other farmers. So for this guy to get this going is just, it's awesome. So anyway, it's a great episode. We talk about farming, what he's doing, how you can help. And if you want to learn more about it, go to cultivatetex.com and you can. So check out the Heath brothers. It's him and his brother, but I have Nathan on the podcast today. So let's talk to Nathan and let's start talking about farming. All right, enjoy. And I see you're wearing the hat that I want to talk to you about. Cultivate, man. So I just looked this up. This is like the best concept ever, man. I mean, I was so excited when I saw this. So it's cultivatetex.com. Okay. But before we get into it, because I want people to get excited about, but I want them to know what it is yet. Because first I want to talk about you a little bit, your background, so that people, when we do get into it, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, yeah. This guy knows what he's talking about. So let's get into a little bit of your background. You've been farming, I guess, your whole life. Just kind of give us a little breakdown about that.
Sure.
Pretty much how you got to cultivate, right? Let's just do that from there to cultivate.
I was technically born on a farm in southern Arizona, so I've been involved in ag most of my life.
Wow.
Then in my early 20s, I floated around and did some other things because I wanted to get away. Then I got back involved in large-scale ag up in the Panhandle area, and then moved to Austin about 11 years ago and started a farm in Bastrop. And for the last decade, we were selling vegetables, predominantly for the last 5 years, just to the chefs in Austin. So before that, we did CSAs and at the farmers market, things like that.
Got it.
When I started growing vegetables, I wasn't even familiar with the whole farm-to-table restaurant because they don't exist in the Panhandle then. So the whole idea, and when I met the chefs, it was kind of mind-opening. It was really exciting as a farmer because they wanted these really unique vegetables that the general public wouldn't necessarily buy in volume, and they were having a hard time finding farmers that were growing it. So it was like a perfect mesh for us. I just loved growing new vegetables, and the weirder I could grow, the more they loved it. So it was a great relationship and had a lot of fun. As a farmer, it was really fun for me. So
that's awesome.
That's kind of how my experience got here. Then I sold my farm last year, and it's still going in Bastrop, which I'm very happy about. She's doing a great job, Verdant Farms.
Nice. What's it called again? Say it again.
Verdant Farms with no vowels.
Got it.
So her name is Becky. So she took that over and is running it. That's been a dream of hers for a long time. She worked at JDG and some other farms in the area, so she's got good experience too. So anyway, I was kind of floating around, and I was installing what's called the FarmBoxes now, just kind of on the side because I can't get out of growing things. And when this whole pandemic happened, I was talking to my brother because I installed some in his house already, and he had these ideas for technology, and they were actually really beneficial and helpful. So pretty much ever since I started farming in Austin, I've had technologists come to me that I've got this great idea to help farmers. It's an app to help you sell food. I was like, that's not. Did you ever talk to a farmer first?
Yeah. The last
So,
thing they need is an app, right? You're like,
yeah, and we only charge 5%. I'm like,
yeah.
So I had gotten a little cynical to the tech side in farming integration, but his idea was actually to help growing food. So that's where he comes from. He's got over 20 years of tech experience at pretty high level. So that was pretty much how Cultivate was born. He had these ideas, and it was instantly just like a light bulb. It was like, man, those are amazing ideas. Let's do this. Then obviously at this time, I think it's really beneficial too. And I think people are really open to the idea of growing food more and see the importance probably more than ever. So
Yeah,
that's pretty much how we ended here. And I'm super excited about it because I've always liked teaching and sharing. I've mentored other farmers, and I've even had classes at the farm to the open public. We actually did a Kickstarter and built a teaching center out there.
Wow.
So it's, education and sharing the love of farming has always been a pretty big passion for me.
That's
so
awesome, man.
This just feels like the next evolution. And then to me, it's really exciting to be able to combine the tech in a really helpful way. So it's not going to be like front and center, but it's really going to be helpful. If you think of like a smart home taken to farming.
Got it.
So.
Yeah, man, it's a really, so I'm just going to break it down for the listeners, like what exactly it is. So basically, if like you want to grow some, vegetables at your house, you can call you. You'll come over, set up a box or whatever, like you see in all the Instagram photos and stuff that people have, right? And you'll basically, work with them on the vegetables and whatever and grow it for them, right? Like you basically cultivate it for them, right? Hence Cultivate Techs. And then they get the, the bounty of it, right? They just get to eat the vegetable. And then at the same time, right, hopefully learn a little bit about it, sort of get involved. And I guess the deal is people can step into it however much they feel like it, right? So if they feel like being very involved, they could be very involved with it. But if they feel like, you know what, I don't have time, that's what I'm paying for, I just want to, not do too much, they can do that too, I guess. Right? I mean, that's basically the deal.
Yeah, I mean, we have it runs the gamut. If we don't have to be involved in the maintenance, if someone just wants us to come install the boxes and then fill it with some really amazing soil that I've kind of perfected over the last, my farming career, because not all soil is created equal, and that's a large part of the problems people have. So we'll fill it with that. We'll install the automatic drip irrigation system and do the first planting for them. And then if they have the experience, they can take it over.
That's awesome.
Or like you said, we get definitely be much more involved in the maintenance of it, and then they can be as involved as they want. Pretty much the only obligation they have is to make sure it's watered and then to make the food.
Got it. Yeah. That's a big one, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's a big one. And then eat it, right? Like, yeah. It's such a great concept, man, because so many people, I know me personally, that so many people have, the desire to think about something like that. Oh, I would love to get growing some vegetables in my yard. I don't know one person that doesn't say that, to be honest with you. So, and I'm surprised there hasn't really been something out there to, bring people together like this. But I guess because of what's happening in the world right now, you saw an opportunity. You said, okay, I want to help people, right? Like, I guess provide for themselves in a lot of ways. Which is great. Like how much do they yield? Like, I'm curious, like how much food do they yield?
I mean, it depends. I mean, generally we say a box a person at a house.
Okay.
If
how big are those boxes?
They're 4x8.
4x8.
So they have 32 feet of growing space. And generally in farming, you get about a pound or a bunch per linear foot a month. So if you think around 20 pounds / bunches per box. So if you want to eat 100% seasonal, you might need more than one, but most people, we still want to go to the store and get our bananas and our strawberries and our broccoli in July.
Sure. So,
yeah. You think about it more as supplemental. And then I have some customers that are actually vegans, and so they do require more because they are trying to grow, a large portion of their food.
Sure.
So, it does cover the gambit, but on average, it's a box a person.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, that's awesome. What are some of the? I'm just curious. I meant to ask you this question before when you were kind of introducing yourself to us. Like, what are some of the restaurants you worked with here in Austin before when you were growing vegetables? Like, what are some of the places?
Let's see. So we started with Barley Swine when they're on South Lamar at
Yeah.
their very first location.
Wow.
And then obviously went to Odd Duck when they opened that. And then did Sour Duck, Olive and June, Parkside, Eastside Pies, Dewey, Intro, Paperboy, Suerte, Laundrette, uh, Emmer and Rye, Hindit at the Food Center.
Oh my
I know
God.
I'm forgetting some. Oh, Lenoir.
These are like literally the best places in town. Like in Texas, in some of them are the best of the South. Like, I mean, holy cow, man.
Yeah,
Yes.
we were looking the other day, and it's like counting all the James Beard nominations from the chefs we used to work with, and it was pretty impressive. So
That's
I was
awesome.
definitely honored. It opened my eyes to what food really could be.
Yeah,
I just pretty much had, normal food before then at home cooking.
sure.
Um, but to like go and eat it, say like barley swine at the chef's tasting menu, and to be taken literally on like a journey and see what food can do and how it can make you feel, it changed me for the rest of my life and how I view and interact with food. So
Oh,
I have
wow.
tremendous respect for what the chefs can do with food,
Yeah,
and their level of commitment to local. Because truth is, it's harder. Like it's way easier just to order from a big food co-op and they deliver everything.
100%.
But if you're working with 4 or 5 individual farmers, and, there's different levels of professionalism with some farmers. So yeah, some it's really impressive the amount of effort they put into it. So I was thoroughly impressed with them and still am. I'm still friends with a lot of them actually.
That's awesome, man. What I think is great is that someone like
Oh, I forgot
yourself.
Olame. Sorry.
Oh, Olame. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
man. I mean,
he's on the him and Kevin Fink from Emmer and Rye. They're both on for the James Beard this year.
yep. Yep. That's
So,
right. Yeah. Texas got its own category, which is
uh,
deservingly so. Exactly. There's so many between Dallas, Austin, and Houston. I
yeah,
mean, it's like it's a show if you come to Texas for good food, for sure.
and
I
I've heard
think
San Antonio's starting to get their own groove going too.
yeah,
With
that's
more,
true, man. San Antonio's always been such a tough spot in our state. They've always kind of taken a backseat to a lot of these other big cities. Um, what I was going to say is, what I think what's interesting is someone like yourself who has such, deep rooted ties to food, right? Growing up on a farm can still be amazed by what food can do, right? Such later in life. I think that's amazing. I think that's super receptive of yourself to just be even open to that journey, right? To go along with this and like, okay, I provided this, these vegetables for you guys. Look what y'all did with it. Like, I didn't even know this was. I think that's so great, man. And to stick it through with them, right? Like, see it through what they did with it, not just like, here's the stuff. Yeah, I'm busy Friday, guys. I can't come out and eat. Thanks for the invite, right? Like, I think that's great, man. I think that's really cool. And tasting menus are absolutely the way to get to a chef's heart and mind, like and find out who they are, what they're about. And they can be long, right? I've done some tasting menus that are like 30, 40 courses. Like,
oh,
I
geez.
mean, right? You're just like, good God, I can't. I mean, I stopped, my brain stopped functioning like an hour into it, right? Just like so much food.
Yeah,
But it's great, right? You think, oh, one little bite, this won't add up. Oh, it adds up.
yeah,
It adds up, right? Yeah,
yeah. I
that's
think
awesome.
the last one I did was at Barley Swine, and then they gave some kitchen love on top of it, so it ended up with like 15 courses. And you don't think 2 or 3 bites you're going to end up being full. He could like had to waddle out, but the whole
100%.
thing, and then like giving you like a cucumber foam to cleanse your palate. It's like what? How
Yeah,
does that work? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can taste new food, and just the whole thing was just, I mean, it was mind blowing to me.
that's
It,
awesome.
people spend that much time thinking about understanding food at like a molecular level, and then just knowing how it works. I think it's just amazing.
If you think about it, it makes a lot of sense in the sense, maybe not, at home, of course, we're not taking it that far, right? Like I'm not making foams at home here, like just for Tuesday night dinner. But What is cool is, you know, the effort that you and other farmers go to create that, right, to grow that food. And honestly, that's the most effort, is getting it, you know, grown. And then to someone to take it that seriously, right? They take what you gave them and they treat it like it's important, right? They're not just like, whatever, make some bullshit salsa, you know. It's like they've actually putting care into it. I can imagine, as a farmer, at least for me, that would make me very proud and very happy. And just like you said, it sort of changed your idea about food. But I would just be happy that they're, you know, respecting my product, right? It's just not like some normal, because like you said, when you order off the truck of Cisco or whatever these companies are, right, it's just comes in a case. You don't even think twice about it. You're not oogling goggling over the tomatoes that just came in, or the whatever, because they all look the same. They're all whatever. It's the same case you get all the time. There's literally nothing special about it. Even the flavor is dull. It doesn't even taste like anything. It's like water. It literally just tastes like, you know, water. You know, and that's another big difference flavor wise, right? Like, why is that? Let's talk about that. Like, what is why is that tomato like that, and then one you'll provide be just so juicy and flavorful and acidic, right, and just have those properties that make a tomato a tomato?
Yeah. I mean, it's a complex answer, sort of. The easiest answer is shippability. They grow and pick varieties for their ability to be packed and shipped. They need uniform size. And then tomatoes in particular, they'll either pick them completely not ripe and then gas them to change the color, or they'll pick them at what's like a 10% blush, which is on the bottom. So like when I pick a tomato, I'd pick it at a 60%, which is almost to the crown, because the flavor doesn't really change after that. But if you pick it at 10%, you're pretty much picking something unripe. So that's why you have no flavor.
Yeah.
A lot of crops, say like potatoes, a lot of people don't think about potatoes, the taste changing, but they pick them and then store them, and the starches convert to sugars and it changes the taste completely.
Totally.
So, yeah, there's 5,000 varieties of potatoes. In America, we have what, five?
Yeah, you're right. There are tons of different types of potatoes, and you're right. We have five. Like, really, like, you know, there's really one main one, right? That big ass, like, baked potato. Yeah, exactly. When you say they gas the tomatoes, what does that mean? That sounds like horrific to me. What does that even mean? Holy shit.
I can't remember the exact gas it is. It's basically the same thing that's naturally released by bananas or apples. That's why if you put tomatoes in a bag with an apple, it'll ripen faster. So it's a natural gas, but they're basically warehouses, and they put them on trays. So they ship them green. And so there'll be like a distribution center. Maybe San Antonio has several food distribution centers. So they'll, you know, pack this warehouse with 200,000 pounds, and then they gas it, and then they ripen them, and then they'll still be firm. They won't, but they'll have that kind of pilfiness to them.
Yeah.
You know, it is sort of the downside of how we ship food around. You know, like local farmers are doing great right now, but the big mega farms are throwing away hundreds of thousands of pounds of food a day because the transport system broke down.
Yeah.
So it is sort of like so many tomatoes are grown in Mexico. A lot of it is labor and things like that. But so to get from Mexico to Austin, that's a pretty short trip, actually. But you start thinking Seattle or New York or different areas.
That's a good point.
You can't really ship them ripe, and people want tomatoes all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's really an answer as long as we want what we want.
Sure. That's a good point. That's maybe where it starts, right? The problem is just the expectations that we have as consumers, right? Yeah. I was actually talking to this about another farmer that's here in Texas. He owns Parker Creek Ranch. His name is Travis Krause. And, he, you know, saying the same thing. It's sort of the expectation that you assume, you know, sorts of things, right? That I can get strawberries year round, that I can get these things, and I don't even think about it, right? I don't think, oh, how does this get to me, right? I can just buy it, just like Kellogg's, you know, Rice Krispies, right? Like I should be able to get it all the time. And my thought was, well, I think, you know, if we change people's expectations to know that things are seasonal and that I can only get them during this time, that's actually a better benefit, right? Down maybe long term for farmers, so they're not worried about providing a particular, you know, product year round or consistent. Because I mean, honestly, I don't know how difficult that is for a farmer to do. Maybe almost impossible. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
What do
they're
you
growing the
think?
tomatoes generally in greenhouses that are climate controlled. So there's huge ones in southern Arizona. Marfa has the huge ones.
Okay,
Tomatoes, I think, is their name. Um, so they pretty much take nature out of the equation.
got it. Got it.
So,
What, how do you feel about that? I mean, is that something, if it's going to be on a large scale, you have to do?
well, I mean, to grow tomatoes year round, yes, you have to take
You
the
have to do.
variability out.
Yeah.
I mean, nature is the biggest pain in the ass, honestly, for a farmer because it is completely unpredictable.
Sure.
You can go from a drought to Hurricane Harvey,
Yeah.
but that just is part of it. Um, I think as long as customers are going to do it, I don't personally believe people are going to change 100% the way they're eating just because we've gotten accustomed to it. So I kind of feel like it's you're you know trying to swim up a river when you're trying to convince people of that. I think it's a better approach to be like, why don't we try and eat some seasonal local stuff? In a perfect world, I don't know. I mean, they're pushing technology so far with growing that they're taking the distance stuff's traveling down, which is good. But I don't think it's going to change. I think people are going to want tomatoes when they want tomatoes. We want a
Yeah.
hamburger, we want a tomato on it.
Sure. Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm the same as everybody else. When I order something, I want it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, look, we love to consume. We want what we want, right? That's part of our economy. That's fine. I mean, it's what keeps the economy pumping and going. And I get it. My thing is, I want to see that connection happen, right, between farmers and the consumer, and I just wanted to see it be more consistent, and where it's water cooler talk, right, where it's just something yeah, I ordered a FarmBox this week, and this other guy, yeah, I went to HEB, right? Like, it wouldn't be a normal thing, because right now, if somebody says that, it's like, what? You got that from where? Like, oh, you hippie or something. They might even think you're some hippie just from ordering a FarmBox. Like, what? It's just fresh food, dude. Like, what are you talking about? So I think once it gets to that point, right? How do you think we can start to make that happen? More and more. I mean, companies like yours and other farmers are actually doing well, right? The other farmers that I'm talking to, they're telling me their sales are up 1,000%, like considerably.
Yeah.
So obviously people are looking them out right now during the pandemic. Is that going to stick around, right? And what do we do about that? Like,
I mean, I think it's possible. It would be nice. I don't think it'll probably stay at the level it is. I think it'll probably come back down. I
yeah,
don't think it'll ever go down to where it was before because that generally doesn't how it happens. Uh, I would like to see people just, okay, you're going to eat tomatoes year round, but when they're seasonal, buy them local. The taste is going to blow your mind. You're going to thank yourself for doing it. If you're not going to grow it, buy it from a farmer who did grow it locally.
yeah, yeah.
Again, I think it's a lot of education, and it's taken away the misconceptions. But as you know, that so many people don't normally cook at home, and so that's often an issue.
Yeah.
Is they don't want to buy vegetables, well, because they're not cooking at home, or if they, maybe once or twice a week. So
Sure.
again, we're asking people to change a lot of things.
Yeah.
And since this is such a new event, luckily that it doesn't happen often, we don't have anything to compare it to. So I think we're all just guessing on when it's going to happen.
That too.
I would say it's going to change people in certain ways just because it's been such a life-changing event for the whole world. And so I think there's just no way you can go through something like this and not have some sort of effect. Hopefully we'll walk away with more positives than negatives. That's all you can hope for. But the local food movement sort of has been going on for a long time. But there is a lot of larger financial forces that have an interest in keeping it small. So that's just a reality.
Yeah.
And they've kind of fallen apart a little bit during this, particularly the fresh side.
Yeah.
So, I think there's opportunity for that to be talked about. That a farm in Ohio, nothing against that Ohio farmer, but when he's growing 5,000 acres of zucchini, he's pretty successful. And the reality is, when you grow that kind of crops together, your pest pressure is going to skyrocket because that's like heaven for the pest that loves zucchini.
Yeah.
If you're diversified and mixed, you just have a better chance. So I hope that conversation will start getting into the national consciousness a little more. And one thing that I really am excited about for Cultivate is installing these boxes at people's houses and young kids seeing vegetables for the first time, possibly growing and harvesting their own potato and seeing that it comes out of the ground. My kids help on the farm a lot. And kids at school will be like, "Oh, potato doesn't grow like a tomato." They're like, "Sounds close." we don't know. One of those kids could be the person who really solves this. And I think we get the next generation interested. Average age of farmers is 60 plus now.
Yeah.
We've got to start refilling that.
Wow.
And I think refilling it with innovative people that are forward thinking. Someone who's been involved in ag most of my life, there is a certain nostalgia to the past.
Sure.
And, large farms using the same amount of technology, like tractors that are $1 million, GPS controlled, et cetera. But they still do things, or a lot of them still do things very much like they did in the 50s. And we've learned a lot since then. So I would really like to see another generation of younger farmers that are more technology focused. I really think we can push the envelope a lot further. I don't necessarily mean with like vertical growing. That's more on a science side almost, the way they're doing that, using robotic arms to grab things and self-harvesting and all of that. And it's interesting, and who knows where the future of that will be.
Sure.
I'd like to see the nutrients tested in the food personally.
I see. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's always been my thing as a dirt farmer is I always farm from the dirt up, because that's how you end up with a complex food that tastes and has lots of nutrients, is because the soil's feeding it. So if you're just literally giving a plant the nutrients it technically needs, that's one reason hydroponic tomatoes, in my opinion, don't taste right, because they're given the food they need to produce like crazy, but there's more to it than that.
I see what you're saying. It's just like the obvious, what you think they need, right? But there's more support that comes from the ground itself. Yeah, that makes, that absolutely makes total sense, right? It's coming from the ground. Yeah.
Well, if you think about how you eat as a person, technically you could live if you ate these basic things.
Sure.
But it's going to be boring.
Yeah, totally. That absolutely makes sense.
So
yeah,
I view plants a lot like people. We need spice, and we need salt, we need pepper, these different things. And I don't think we should view ourselves as so abstract and better than them. I think we should work in a circle together, and then you end up with better tasting food. And if the plant's healthier, resist pests better. So then you don't even have to use as much organic pest control. So the whole cycle just makes sense. And people laugh at me because I smell soil a lot. Really, like my brother, because he's not so much used to it. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm smelling, man, seeing if it's alive." And when I explain to him what the difference is, he can tell the difference now. But before, it was all the same to him.
Sure. Dirt is dirt. Yeah, that's what I mean, if you think about, right, that's what I would think too. Maybe dirt is dirt. But you're right. It makes total sense that it has. Plus, we have all of our so many senses in our nose, right, compared to anywhere else. Thousands of sensors, right, for wine, right? They say that about wine too. You're supposed to smell it instead of drink it. Well, let me ask you this. So it sounds like this is sort of an urban farming movement that you're doing, right? Because it's like trying to get people that maybe wouldn't farm before, right? Like wouldn't grow vegetables before, but okay, let's get it at your house and have this. Is that, you think, maybe the way forward? Kind of urban gardening, people sort of do it for themselves a little, like supplemental, like you said. So it does relieve a little bit of the pressure from the stores and having to provide that. But then what does that do for the farmers that people want to buy from the farmers?
Well, the reality is the local farmers in Austin couldn't supply 5% of demand if people all suddenly decided they just wanted to buy local. There's just not, we would need thousands of farms.
Yeah.
And the farmland's being taken up so quick by development. I think we figured one time, and it was a number like 4,000 farms, 10 acres or less.
Wow.
Because it's over 2 million people in the Austin area.
Yeah.
And if you think each one just ate a pound a day of vegetables, it's 2 million pounds. That's a lot of produce.
That is
a rig holds an average of 50,000 pounds. So you start thinking about the line of trucks you need.
Holy cow.
Yeah. It's, I don't really think that that's an issue. I don't feel like I'm taking business away from other farmers, because there's always going to be people who don't want to or can't. Maybe they live in an apartment, or their HOA doesn't allow them. Who knows what?
Yeah.
And there are just some yards that aren't possible. The tree cover's too thick. As much as I love vegetables, I don't know if I would proponent cut down trees to grow them. I really don't feel like that's an issue. As far as it being an urban thing, it's sort of an innately be. And it wasn't originally designed that idea. I think we'll still go outside. But I think the more people we can get involved in growing food, the more awareness they're going to have in their life. And then I think we will start seeing food changes that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anytime you start doing something, you get more interested in it.
100%. 100%. Yeah, and you provide. Look, it's a win-win. Like you're providing for yourself. It's fresh. It's right from your yard. In a lot of ways, you helped it grow, right? So yeah, there's definitely got to be pride in that as well, which will keep you wanting to do it. In a lot of ways. And like you said, you do something, you're going to learn about it and become more interested in it actually with it as well. Now, what about like, I know this is going to sound crazy, but what about like adding livestock or small animals or stuff? Like, is that something you might get into with people, like helping them get chickens or I don't know, a goat or something?
I hadn't thought about it, honestly. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I grew up raising chickens and pigs actually for 4-H. I was actually involved in large scale beef production. So I'm familiar with it. I think it's interesting. Chickens are actually a pretty amusing animal. They have a lot of personality.
Yeah, my neighbor has like 5 of them that just run around the front yard. They're not even in the backyard, right? They literally run into the street sometimes and then run back out. But they stay right there. They don't run away. I'm amazed by it. I just every time I drive by it, I'm just amazed by it. I love it.
They had an area in Bastrop, which was the historic chicken district, and there had been these wild chickens for a very, very long time, but they kept reproducing so much so that they actually had to round them up and then rehome them outside of the city. But
oh wow!
Driving down it, there'd just be all these chickens darting all over the road. It was pretty amusing, but
it is amusing, man. Because I'm literally in the city, right? I'm off of South Congress, right by Ben White, so it's just funny to see these chickens here that you would normally obviously associate with, being out in the country, if you will, right? Put that in quotes. But, I could see that being a part of your business. Honestly, that was the first thing I thought of when I saw your business and I was looking through it, would be that secondary application, right? Maybe down the road, once you've gotten whatever, upgrading a different revenue stream. But obviously, you're dealing with live product, right? So that's got to be a whole nother animal, no pun intended, right?
Yeah, I mean, we had 400 laying hens at the farm, and over the years we ship it out and just focused on the vegetables.
Yeah, it's a whole nother animal. I mean, yeah, it's a whole game, right? It's just,
and they do take a lot of work, and there's predators, and I believe if you're going to have another living creature, you need to take absolute immaculate care of it.
Yes.
So at that time, I was feeling too stretched.
Sure.
So I just made the decision to get out. I think they're a really amusing one. I don't know about goats, because there's some really lippy goats that make a lot of noise. They might be a horrible urban animal.
And they eat, they will literally eat anything, right? So they can eat into stuff. They are probably going to eat shit you don't want them to eat, right? That's probably what's going to happen. You're going to look over and there's a chicken missing. Like, damn it.
Yeah, I mean, goats are such a determined animal. They're very hard to keep in once they decide they want out. They'll just sit and push and push and push. And eventually, the fence usually gives. We used to have goats too.
I love that.
We had one named Buttercup, and she taught all the other goats to yell. So Buttercup had to get rehomed.
That's hilarious. Are the goats the ones that when they get, well, I guess it's a type of goat that gets scared and it stiffens up and falls over? Is that a goat?
Yeah, the fainting goats.
Is that, yeah. What are they called?
Fainting goats.
Oh, fainting goats. Yeah. There you go. Fainting goat. It's a genetic. Is that what it is? I've always curious why that happens.
I think it has something to do with the blood rushing, and then they just pass out temporarily.
I mean, it's the craziest looking thing when you see it happen. Like, I can't imagine waking up from that, right? The goat waking up like, what the hell?
Yeah, I've never actually seen it in person, just videos.
Yeah, I've seen so many videos, and if I see one, I mean, I will replay it 1,000 times. Like, I just can't. It's that moment where it just and just falls over. I just like, God, is that, what sort of evolution? I would be pissed at evolution if I was that goat. Like, why did you evolve me to do this? This completely leaves me vulnerable, right? Like, I don't know, I guess, or maybe that looks like they're dead. It kind of looks like they died in a way, right? If you didn't have any sort of maybe the intelligence of another animal, you'd be like, oh, they're dead.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Well, sometimes I wonder that about snakes that mimic venomous snakes. Like the coral snake and the snakes that mimic it. So people kill it all the time because who can remember red and black kills Jack? Wait, okay, you're
Yeah,
good.
totally. Yeah, I don't mess around with snakes, man. I don't know. I don't like snakes, but I didn't grow up on the country and the farm, so dude, I get scared of spiders, to be honest with you. I had a snake in my yard. I've actually been battling a snake for about 3 weeks in my backyard because I have a pond with koi
Mm,
fish and a little waterfall, and he found a way to like create a little home behind the waterfall, and so he'll pop out behind from the waterfall at night and then swim around and then try to kill my fish. He's gotten a couple fish. Um, it's like crazy, like, but I don't know. I'm such a pansy, man. I don't know what to do. I don't want to kill it,
yeah,
but at the same time, I'm not just going to be like, hey, buddy, let's go over here. Like, and I know it's not a deadly or because it's kind of small. I'm pretty sure it's a garden snake. I mean,
yeah.
honestly, if somebody else saw it, they'd be like, Patrick, you fucking idiot. Like, what are you, what are you bitching about? Yeah, snakes, man.
Well, my daughter's petrified of snakes, and we had a lot on the farm, and
Oh, I can imagine.
it's, it just happens, and she can't control it. She runs away screaming. So I
That's
don't. I
neat.
mean,
Your daughter and I have a lot in common. That's what that's what I do.
I don't judge people for that. I have weird phobias that don't make sense either. So
There's a lot exactly. There's a lot of things I'm not a snake. It's just the way it moves. There's something
yeah,
about the way it moves. Plus, I don't trust anything with no legs or arms. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? There's something
yeah,
about that I don't know. It's just
yeah,
they move fast. They will just like it's just it's that jolting effect of the way they move around. At least for me, that's what it is, I think.
yeah. It is sort of one of the drawbacks of farming is that you spend so much time looking for snakes. I think it starts actually draining your heart a little bit. You're probably kind of a little like, and it's mainly the copperheads because they blend in so well,
Oh
and
god.
and they often don't move until you almost step on them, and then you're like,
Oh.
I've seen with a lot of snakes, they just like wait till you're gonna step on them, and they move, and then somehow you're able to like float, jump over 'em. So,
You do a little matrix move, like
yeah,
right around. It's like
so,
that's hilarious.
yeah. One actually got in our house. It was a little there's a little garter snake about that big, and it was in our laundry room, and the light was off, and my wife went in there and stepped on it and bit her. But
Holy shit! Oh, I would have had a heart
obviously,
attack.
it disappeared really fast, and so we weren't sure what it was.
Yeah.
So then I had to
Oh
go
my
tear apart the whole laundry room, move the dryer, trying to find the snake. And I don't know what it is, so I'm like have a shovel in front of my knee, blocking it as some sort of protection.
I can't. Absolutely right. You're going into the unknown here, like.
And at the whole time, like looking at my wife, like, "Are you reacting? Do I need to take you to the hospital? Because I don't want to take a bull snake bite or whatever."
Yeah, yeah. We're both get bit, right? Like, yeah, we're both fucking dead here.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah.
Oh shit! You're like you marry on if I die. Go ahead, live your life. You're just like, I mean, can you imagine getting bit in the dark and not knowing what the fuck bit you? I can't. That would be the worst feeling, right? That's got to be the worst thought.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
she handled it pretty well considering all those unknowns. She, had this light panic attack and then calmed down pretty quick. So
good
I
for
don't
her.
know how I would react.
Yeah. Well, we both know how I would react. So let's be real. Yeah, that's crazy, man. God, this is so. I think it's just so cool. What you're doing, Nathan, with this Cultivate text thing, man. I really do. It's just such a great concept to get people out because right now you have people's ear. That's the truth, man. People are. I mean, so many of my friends and other people, whatever, are talking about farms and farm boxes like it's the new term, right, to use. And like, that's going to be another extension is like doing what you're offering, which I think, honestly, man, I really good to see a lot of people get behind this. I just don't see why not. There's just so many people that want to do it. They want to do it, but they don't know how. Okay, I'll watch a YouTube video. Okay, I'll do this. Okay, I'll do that. But at the same time, there's so much option. There's so much whatever. So what a great idea to have, someone like yourself with so much expertise, knows what they're doing, come in and show them how it's done. I mean, that's like crazy. I mean, honestly, that's such a crazy thing you're doing. Like, how many? What has been the reception since you guys started this?
Well, we technically officially launched yesterday.
Okay, right on. Boom. Congratulations. That's awesome.
So before that, like I said, I just sort of been installing them on my own.
Yeah.
Because we didn't start working on this as brothers until like the middle of last month. So pretty much had to build up the whole website and everything since then, and figure out everything. But it's been very, very encouraging. And when I sold at the farmer's market, I would talk to a lot of people about home growing because that's what people ask farmers about.
Sure.
And so many people would quit because they would have failure. And it would always like kind of break my heart because then they'd be like, oh no, I can't. I've got a black thumb. I kill everything. I'm like, no, you don't. No one has a black thumb. You just don't know how to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I just wanted to help them so much. It was just like, but it's kind of hard if someone's describing like a fungal disease on a tomato plant. It can have a lot of different root causes and solutions and things. So that's just, I really want to, in my dream, I would love to help people, get them going, get them excited, get them like a base knowledge, and then be able to kind of step off and then
sure.
Then continue. That's like a real dream for me, is to get people, skilled enough where they can do it on their own and they don't need me anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a long-term goal, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and someone asked me like, well, that's a bad business idea. And I'm like, there's a lot of people in the world. I'm not worried about it.
Plus, those people will probably come back. I forgot everything you told me. All right, like we need to go again. Yeah.
But yeah, I was talking to someone. She's like, "Well, I'm a pretty accomplished gardener, but could I hire you when I go on vacation? When I do that again?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, maybe we can work something out."
Can I hire you
instead of home sitting? You garden sit? I don't know.
Hey, that's interesting. Garden sit. Whoa, that's funny. That's hilarious.
I just think there's so many options, and this is just kind of the start. We really would like to see this business grow into being part of people's lives.
Yeah,
it's something that integrates with their lives, and that's one thing we're really trying to make the technology as an add-on to it. We don't want it to be that the technology is the center stage at all, but it really just helps people grow.
What about these are just a couple of things that I thought of, right now. So what if you have an apartment? What if you rent a home?
Mm-hmm.
And you're, let's I don't know. I'm just throwing this out here. Curious.
Well, even though we just launched yesterday, I've actually already been out doing consults, and yesterday was actually at someone who rented a house. And because it's movable, if the landlord didn't want it there when they left, you could take it apart and move it on.
So that's awesome. That is
not permanently damage anything.
Yep.
The whole system's designed to be modular. As far as apartments, that's really going to be, unless you could get the apartment complex to agree to let you do it in like a commons area, which I don't see many corporations yet willing to do that.
Hopefully maybe you guys offer like a little patio set that's not very big, right? It's just like a 3-4 foot long thing, not very wide even, maybe by a foot or something, and it's only got 3 or 4 things in it, just sort of starter kit, get you going, something to have on the counter. I don't know, I'm spitballing here. This is what I do. I love being creative and coming up with a business idea. I
have some ideas for apartments. They would be more of a pot type system.
Okay.
Where you can pick up the whole thing and all be self-contained.
Got it.
Put a box and then put the dirt onto the concrete, and it's gonna water. It's gonna leak out.
That's not what I meant. I meant I meant what you're saying.
Like a planter box.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
I would like to be able to offer options to everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe we can't individually go to apartments, but maybe 10 people in an apartment complex want to do it, and we can have a bi-weekly class to teach you or something.
What if you sold it to apartment complexes, right? You go to these apartment complexes, say, hey, let me install 4 of these right at your place. You pay me, right? So now the apartment complex is but now they're an apartment group, so they got 10 of them across Austin, right? So this is.
One thing I would like to work with is businesses where people aren't used to seeing food grown, like at an office. So once people start going back to it, I think the idea.
That's a great idea.
Mental mindset would be different. If you walked into work and there's a bunch of broccoli growing, plants make you happy.
Dude, that's a great idea. Yes.
I think that it would make people feel better.
Yeah.
Depending on how you feel about this, it's stressful. It just is.
Sure.
So I really hope that we can get some of the corporations to change the mindset too.
Sure.
because I think that will help lead the way. So, say if it's a business that has 500 employees and you put some boxes out front, well, all those employees now saw it. It
Yeah.
opens their mind to thinking about it.
Well, that's a good point too. And this is Austin, so a lot of people are open to that stuff, right? They're looking for that stuff. Like, that's a great idea, man. The business thing is a great idea. Another thing, you could even offer it to, food trucks or restaurants. Hey, you guys want your own couple boxes? We'll install them for it. I mean, damn, man, this is
like Michael from Olme. He's already he's like, hey, I want one in Olme.
I knew it. I knew that would happen, because if I had a restaurant, I remember when I had my food truck, I would have loved something like that, because I was in one spot for a long time, right? I mean, I did move around, but like at the beginning, I was in a food park for like the first almost 2 years, and I would have loved to have had a couple boxes there, right, that I could just have some stuff growing that I could be using on the truck.
For sure.
That would have been awesome. Oh man, dude. You've like hit on something, man. I'm telling you, you've really hit on something that's so crazy too, because has so many possibilities. Just look at all the things we're throwing out, right? Like, that could be done, and the future for you. Like, people are going to really respond to this, man, and especially now, like, as much as of course, I hate everything that's happening right now in the world, and if I could take it back, I would, and blah blah blah, right? All those things that I pretty much have to say this every podcast, but at the same time, there are opportunities right now for people, and I think that's what these sort of crises. That's what happens. Opportunities come from these things, right? Like new startups, new ideas, new solutions to old problems. That's what happens, right? And obviously, seeing the way supply chains are set up, the way distribution is set up, we were talking about earlier, we're seeing our food system sort of break down in a lot of ways on a national level, and perfect opportunity for smaller growers or places or whatever to step in and start taking care of the local community. And I think it's awesome, man. I really do. I just think it's such a cool thing you have going. Like,
thank you.
I really do, man. I just can't even tell you. Like, I know people listening to this are going to want to reach out to you and get something going. And even if this is such a great thing about your concept too, is even if I don't want to do it for me, I'm going to share it because it's such a cool idea, right? Even if it's like, well, I can't use it at my house, but I know 10 people who might like this. This is such a great idea. That's another cool thing that's good about it, is that if the person doesn't use it, they will share it, man, because it's such a cool, such a cool thing.
Well, hopefully, because we're a startup on a shoestring, self-funded, so any help is greatly appreciated.
Of course, man. I mean, me personally, I'm going to be sharing it like crazy. There's no doubt about it, man. And then once my friends find out, they start sharing it, right? I'm surprised Robert might actually, I'm surprised Robert hasn't hit you up to do something like this. He just got some new house. Although Robert's the type of person that might say, I could do it myself. I don't know. That's totally Robert. Like, I'll figure it out. And then it blows up in his face. And he's like, damn it. Better call him.
I'm pretty addicted to that Muay Thai sauce.
Bro, his sauces are legit. I'm rocking the sweet chili. He has a sweet chili sauce.
Yeah, we got that one too. Sometimes I mix them. Yes. The Muay Thai and the sweet chili.
Yes. The Muay Thai you could put on anything. I mean, that's just like, it's like, I tell Robert, like, you need to promote that as the new sriracha for people. Like, get that out there. Let them see. Let them just be like, it's just a table just put it on anything. Yeah, Robert is he's such a talented guy.
My wife isn't a huge sauce person. Like, I'm pretty addicted to them. I'll admit hurt my line in my stomach several times. But when she tried that Muay Thai sauce, I mean, she's putting it on everything now. And when we put it on salad the other day, it was like, yes. We mixed it with poppy seed dressing.
I love that. Oh, Robert will be super excited to hear that, man. That's awesome. That is awesome.
So, I think he's a great guy. And I love that their story is, it's heartbreaking, but it's sort of similar to this in the way that horrible things happen in life sometimes, and you just have to find a way to make a positive road out of it.
Absolutely.
It's not always easy.
Yeah.
Their story is slightly heartbreaking to me as a father, but I'm so impressed with their courage and strength to work through it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying with this is there's, it is scary to a lot of people, but you can either be scared or try and find a solution that makes things better.
Yeah. I think what's great about it, dude, is that people don't need to feel scared with this particular concept with yours, because you're there for them, man. You're gonna
Oh yeah.
be you know what I mean? You're gonna be there for them. It's not like you're dropping it off at the front door and, oh, good luck. There's the instructions. It's not like an IKEA piece of furniture, right? Where you're gonna be at home for like 12 hours, like, this piece of shit. I got a piece of wood left over and 7 screws left over. What the hell? It's like you're gonna be there. You're gonna, if they have any questions, they have any concerns, if they have any doubts, like, you're gonna be there for them. Or someone from your, company as you grow. And I think that's awesome. I think that's what's the best part about it, is that you won't feel alone from working with you. You're going to feel support. One thing I do want to bring up before this ends, your brother, right? He's doing like the technology aspect to it. So
Yep.
what I like that you said at the beginning was that he's more coming in to help the growing aspect of it, right? So that's what his technology, whatever. So what are some of the ways, technology wise, y'all are hoping that you have now and are hoping to maybe add? Because I do think that is something that will bring some people in, right? It's technology. It's on my phone. It's connected. I got a smart garden, right? Like, that's going to bring people in for sure. So yeah.
I mean, we have different phases. So, some of them are, watering, monitoring, things like that from your phone, eventually getting where you can actually control the watering with your phone, and things like that, nutrient level. When we're doing maintenance, we'd like to be able to update basically on an app what we're doing, so So say, for example, if we planted a bunch of carrot seeds, well, it's going to look like nothing's there. And maybe you want to go out and cultivate your box for a little bit, and then you just dug up all the carrot seeds. So we'd like to be able to update that.
Got it.
Have people be able to interact with their box on their phone. I mean, it's just the reality is we use our phones so much, and so to find a way to bring the farming into the phone so that you'll get more connected to it that way. And we have some other versions as far as taking some of my knowledge and making it accessible, as far as an app. And then as people have gotten more used to the Zoom and interaction, so when someone does have a question, having a Zoom call, things like that, so that they don't feel alone.
That's awesome.
It's really how we've kind of set in our minds how we view success is by someone's bounty. So that's really how our company's only successful if people are actually getting food out of it. It's not measured in how many sales are we making,
Sure.
because in the end that's just not what our vision is. It's we want people connected, happy, and just engaged with it. We don't view ourselves as like a product company. We're not just, like you said, going to go install a box and then be gone.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, the success rate of most people is going to be pretty low. And I don't mean to be cynical in that way. It's just from personal observation and talking with a lot of people.
Sure.
And then they quit. And, that's not the goal. The goal is success and to teach people. And, not very long ago, pretty much every American had some of agriculture in their life. And so growing things was a little more connected. I mean,
sure.
Most of our great grandmothers had gardens.
Yeah. Yeah. My grandfather did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so we have this pretty big disconnect, but it's not that far. So I feel like people can learn it and they shouldn't be intimidated. And that's what we really want to take away is that fear of, I can't do it.
Sure.
You can, because we're here for you. We really want to be someone's partner in it. Because I don't want people to be scared of it. Like with tech, I wouldn't be able to do this because I'm scared of technology. I can use this stuff, but much above that, it's out of my sphere of knowledge.
Me too, man. To be honest with you, I barely do this. This is like, it had to be set up for me, right? Like, yeah.
And Luke, my brother, is just as passionate about this, and he had worked on a lot of really cool projects for like Fortune 500 companies, but he always sort of felt like it wasn't really hitting his calling. He wanted a purpose more for his life besides just making really cool software and development. And so when he had these ideas and they flowed, it was just like, man, those make sense. And I don't know. We had talked about as brothers because we both owned our own companies for 20 plus years. Of always kind of wanting to work together.
Yeah.
And it was just like, this was it. It was like perfect synergy. It all lined up.
Yeah.
And his skill set is completely different than mine. And so we complement each other. So we're not, having sibling rivalry or competition. It feels really great, honestly, to be able to work with him and just things are flowing and they make sense. And we both just have a really positive, optimistic view for what this can be for people. Yeah, it's nice. I'll be honest.
It's awesome, man. It really is. And you know, another idea I just had is like, what if y'all had a, because this is me, right? Like, let's say maybe not me, but some people would be like, I want to see my garden when I'm away from it, right?
Mhm.
So maybe having a connected, you know, camera, right, that shows your garden, you can see it all. Maybe y'all already thought of that. I don't know. That's something that I would be like, oh, that's cool. You can look, you can see your garden, you know, as well at all times. Not that it matters. I don't know why you need to be checking in on the squash at 3 a.m., but um,
When I was farming, I'd be on vacation and I'd be like, man, I wish I could see the farm.
really? See,
Yeah.
I knew it. Like exactly. I knew it.
I mean, it sounds weird, but like
It's
when
your
you're,
baby, right? It's your
yeah, it
baby.
is. I mean, you know, you put time and effort and attention into it.
I get it.
At least for me, I know there's some people that just walk away, and I'm sure there's people that are, man, this dude's a little unstable. I was like this before. Don't worry.
Yeah. Look,
you can ask any of the chefs.
You're in the right industry because chefs aren't, you know, we don't have it all together either, man. Okay,
No,
let me tell you something. You know, that's the reason I got in the restaurant industry is because I'm a little crazy, so they accepted me. It was like I found people like me. That's what I said when I remember when I first started where I was like, everybody's like me. This is great.
Yeah. I mean, I would love it people tell me, "Oh, I want to be a chef because they make so much money." I'm like, "Really? Have you ever talked to one?"
Yeah, wrong career, pal.
Yeah.
Like,
you want to be hunched over like 6 inches of table that's just a little too short for 8 hours a day?
if you want to have a life, you know, do anything in life, make money. Don't be a chef. You just said all the wrong thing. Like there's no time. Forget birthdays, holidays, weekends. You know, anything, right? Any celebrate, you give up your service. You become
work-life balance.
It's what does that mean? That's like which is an issue in the industry. It's something I keep talking about. You know, I do hope that sort of changes one day. But you know, look, it's you get out of food what you put into it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
When you're cooking and you're creating meals and you're creating dinners and, you know, anytime I've done that, anytime I've had to create menus or dishes or whatever, it's you get what you put out. I mean, it's that simple. However much I research or whatever, that's what I'm going to get out of it. And that's the response I'm going to get out of it as well.
Yeah.
It's literally that simple. And I'm sure it's the same way with farming, right? As much effort as you put into the soil and the seeds and cultivating it and thinking about the sunlight and the water and the irrigation and the pest control and whatever, depending on how much you think about it, that's basically going to be a reflection of your vegetables that come out, right? Like in a lot of ways.
It does. I mean, it was one reason it was so enjoyable to work with the chefs because there was this kind of equal obsession from both of us.
Yes.
They were obsessed with their dishes and I was obsessed with my vegetables.
Yep.
And
that's why they liked you. I guarantee you they liked you because you were obsessed with it. I'm telling you, I know. I've worked in tons of restaurants. Like I've purchased, like those are the people you look for. You don't want to buy from somebody that's like, well, I got some shit if you want it. Yeah. And you're like, okay. But this guy comes in like, I got tomatoes. Like I sleep with them at night. I read them stories. You know, you're just like, okay, we want this guy. Like he's because you're going to get that with the product. And it's something, you know, you can have a long-term relationship with. So that's another thing that restaurants sometimes have issues with. This is something I heard one time from a owner of a chain. I don't want to say chain because it was only 3 restaurants. Yeah. But it was a small restaurant group up in Dallas. I don't want to call anybody out, but so the owner said, you know, I don't want to order from farms. There's too much inconsistency and, you know, I don't know what I'm going to get and when I'm going to get it. And, you know, what about the health aspect of it? If we have issues with the food, what do we do then? Right? Like, how does that work? And I thought, that's such a wrong way of thinking. And I remember the chef at the time going back with the owner, like, yeah, but that's not, we have to worry about that with who we order from, right? Like we're because this was before the farm to table movement happened. You know, this was like 2009. I mean, I guess maybe there were 1 or 2 places maybe that did it, but it was just starting. So it was like nobody wanted to buy from a local owners were worried about it. The I don't know. They just thought, well, how can I buy this? Is something could happen to us? We get sued because this person got sick off these tomatoes that we bought from this guy that he grows in his back, yard. Like,
Yeah.
It was but now that has changed. Now chefs are looking for that. They like prefer that over anything. And I'm happy to see that change, honestly. But that is a concern with some chefs being able to get stuff consistently, have a good relationship with the farmer,
And honestly,
buying it from different places, right? I've got to buy from 5 different places instead of one place.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, honestly, farmers, and I'm not going to say all, but a large percent need to do a better job on that aspect of it, being consistent, delivering what they say they're going to, just raising the level of professionality.
Sure.
I love farming, but at the end of it, I was in farming because it was a business and I have a family. And I didn't want to I had no intention of being a starving farmer. I'm not interested in that. I know how to grow food. I wasn't practicing. It was business, and I was trying to make a living.
Yep.
A good living, which I did. And I would try to encourage other farmers of that. But I would run my crops the numbers the same as you would if you were producing any other widget.
Sure.
Well, I'm deeply interested in my widget, yes, but it still had to hit parameters I had set.
Sure.
Because people talk about sustainable farming a lot. At the very core, it has to be sustainable for the farmer, which means you have to make enough money to continue to do it.
Yeah.
And the only way you do that is if you run it like it's a business. And chefs will buy stuff from you. They will give you lots of money, but they are running a business too. They need predictability. When you say you're going to deliver 50 bunches, you need to deliver 50 bunches.
Yes.
And maybe once in a while you fall short by 5. That happens, but it can't constantly happen because
exactly
they, they can't just change the menu.
It's all connected, right? It's a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Completely.
I remember one time, it was probably a year after we had started selling to barley swine to Bryce, and there was this horrible freeze coming in, and it was going to knock out a bunch of the summer stuff that was carrying over. And so I called Bryce and I told him, I was like, there's a hard frost coming. It's really going to knock out a bunch of stuff. And he just told me to pick it all and deliver it. And I was like, well, it's a lot of rain. He's like, I don't care what it is. And he just bought it all. So it's like that kind of support. You get that when you provide them with constant things.
That's a great
point. They
want
to make sure you're still there too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That relationship.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's honestly, it's sort of in some ways like a restaurant or chef, depending if they own it, if they're a chef owner or just a chef, right? Like it's something they're proud of where they get things from. Like, I got this guy for this, and this guy gets me this, and damn, where did you get that protein from? Oh, you got to call this guy, like, and I love that, like that. And that's where it needs to keep going. It just needs to keep going that way and keep going further. And the relationships, just need to stay that way. Right. And keep building them. And I know it's hard for farmers, to get out and get their product out sometimes to people and make that connection, because they're just trying to grow the food and they're working long hours, and then there's the city, right? And I get it, man. It's such a tough. It's just y'all do a tough thing, man. That's just the bottom line.
And in the end of the day, for me, it's always been a business, though. In any business, you've got to get out and talk to people.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree with you for sure.
I tell beginning farmers that, and I'm not shy with my words. I'm very blunt.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to make a living doing this, you have to go and sell it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, who's going to buy it? Yeah.
I mean, there's farmers that have this mentality that somehow they're owed a favor by choosing to be a farmer. And I think that's absolutely the worst mentality to have. It's just the wrong energy to approach anything with. No one owes you anything. Is it a hard job? Yes. Do you have more variables than a lot of small businesses because it's all outside? Yes. But no one made you do it. So you're called to do it because you're passionate about it. Now go out there and kick ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that complicated. And just like most small businesses, there's only a huge percent that fail. But that's because it's small business, not because it's necessarily farming. I think there's the added component because you're also producing your widget outside, where you're not just trying to pick the next thing that's going to sell hot. So, but I think when we have this mentality that farmers are owed some national debt, I just disagree with it. I think you're going to attract the wrong type of people. And for the local food movement in particular to succeed, we need people that are going to come at it and be like, this is how I'm going to do it. Like Becky that bought our farm, I'm so impressed with her. She has spreadsheets. She knows what crops make what. I have high confidence that she's going to be around in 10 years. And that
That's
makes me
awesome.
happy because like I can talk to her about business. She's got it.
Yeah.
And, and she's also passionate about farming. So it's like,
Yeah.
Like that excites me.
That's awesome. Wow. That's awesome. That's really great, man. Yeah. I mean, look, restaurants don't have a good success rate either. So same sort of deal. Like anyone that's like, I want to open up a restaurant. It's like, are you sure? Do you know what you're talking? It's always somebody that has never been in the industry, right? That's always somebody that's never been says that. It's, some guy like, well, my neighbors love my tamales. Okay, great. What does that mean? You're gonna invest $3 million now because your neighbors love your fucking pork tamales? That's not a smart way to go about it.
I asked a chef once, I was like, man, with your guys' horrible failure rate and the high startup cost, how do you get funding so easy? He's like, oh, everybody just thinks owning a restaurant's sexy.
Yep, exactly. People don't invest in restaurants to make their money back. They invest in it because that's where I'm going to go sit and eat and say I know the chef. I swear to God, I remember when I worked in Dallas. Again, an owner of a restaurant group that I won't mention his name, but I remember he blatantly said in a meeting we were having with, we would do these weekly management meetings, and he basically said just like, look, the investors give me their money, but I have no intention of paying them back. Like they're giving me money because they just want to say they invested in me. And it's sexy when they go out to dinner with their clients. They go to the restaurant they're an investor in, and we sit down at a special table and get special treatment and maybe a walk through the kitchen. But that dude is never going to get his 50 grand back ever. And the owner has no intention of paying him. Like literally. Now, I'm sure the investor doesn't know that, but that's the truth of a lot of restaurants. Like I'm sorry, but you don't get into restaurants to make money. I don't think so. If you make money along the way, that's great, but you did it because you love it. You have a passion for it. You've been in the industry a long time. Maybe you've worked as a sous chef or a chef somewhere, and now you're ready for your own concept, right? Your own vision, and that's what it's about. It's about pride and chefs wanting their own vision out there. Right. That's what it is. That's why they get that restaurant going. Success, again, if a restaurant can pay their bills, they're successful. Yeah. They don't even need to make a profit even. Just, did we get the bills paid? Is Nathan paid? Is the meat guy paid? Is this okay? With success, we made it. It's such a crazy high margin, right? Like just like the worst. It's just like in a lot of ways, it's crazy to get into it, the business.
Yeah. I would always ask the chefs because I like numbers in business. Most of them are pretty open. And I'm like, and why are you doing this? Like, that profit margin there's a lot of risk there, buddy. I'm not trying to get you to close, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. Not trying to get you to close. Yeah. Which is why people have such a problem with these delivery services right now. I don't know if you see that online, that's sort of bubbling right now. And it's that why, because restaurants have such a thin margin, right? They can't afford to give 30% or 33% of every order to fucking Grubhub. Like, Jesus Christ. Like,
well, the app's going to help them sell more.
So, right. That's the bullshit they sell you on. Well, you'll reach more people.
Yeah.
Okay. Get the F out of here.
With my 3% profit margin, it'll be great.
Yeah. This is great. It's like, I'm going to have to lower the portions. People are literally going to get like a picture of the food. That's all I can afford to send them. You don't even get the food. You get a picture of the meal. That's what it looks like.
But it'll be digital because it costs too much to even print it out.
It won't even be exactly. It'll be a digital. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Restaurants have to start doing all these things. Lower the portion, raise the price. Why is it more expensive when I order on Grubhub except if I order from you directly? Because they're fucking charging us an arm and a leg, and I have to charge more to make this work. It's so crazy, man. There's almost so many things that work against the industry, and so many people try to come in and, like vultures, and just try to get a piece of the pie that doesn't have any pieces available. Like the restaurant, there's no pieces available pie in the restaurant industry. It's crazy, which is why I think, again, something like what you're doing is just such That's such a phenomenal thing, man. You know what? You're probably going to have some competition soon.
I look forward to it. I think competition does
It's
better.
good. I agree.
And,
Competition is good, dog. Exactly.
and, you know, I know quite a bit about farming, and so it's one of those industries. It's, you know, I look forward to someone coming in and trying to help people grow better than me. And if
That's
they can,
awesome.
that means I'm failing, and I need to step up my game.
Sure.
I love competition. There's 4 boys in my family. I'm towards the lower end of that, so you got to be slightly competitive to survive.
Sure.
And I never want to like beat anyone else, put them out, but I do definitely find when I want to push myself as high as I possibly can. And
Nothing wrong with that.
And if there's another company, hey, there's 2 million people in Central Texas.
100%.
I have every intention to grow this business, but I don't know if I can serve 2 million people.
I mean, 100%, man. Again, competition is great because that means more people want to do it, right? Yeah. And more people, it's out there more. And yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, this is so great. Look, Nathan, I know you got a lot of stuff to do, and I just want to say, again, thank you so much. First of all, just for taking the time to speak with me. And again, I really love what you're doing, man. And you're spreading a good word here in Texas, and getting people to learn about farming and stuff, man. It's just awesome. I just can't tell you how awesome it is.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you having me, Patrick, and helping us kind of spread the word. So
I am, man. I'm absolutely going to spread the word. And hopefully when, things settle down a little bit and things are, I know things are kind of opening back up. I'm personally waiting till June-ish to sort of really get out there. I mean, I go here and there, but, like mentally, like,
yeah,
full stop, not till really June, but maybe we can get together, man, and have a beer and do something after this is all done. Maybe me and you and Robert or something.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
Awesome, brother. Okay, man. Well, good luck with everything. Stay safe, stay clean, and my best to your family, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, sir.
All right, bud. Be good. All right. I really hope you enjoyed that podcast as much as I did. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to email the podcast at patrick@texasrealfood.com. And don't forget, you can check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all the different places you can get podcasts. You'll find us on there. Or you can just go to our website, go to thelonestarplate.com. And you can find everything you need there, all the episodes. And you can check us out on YouTube if you want to watch it. We video these now, on a little webcam here and do the Zoom stuff. And, so if you feel like doing it that way, go to the Texas Real Food YouTube channel and you can find it there. Make sure to follow Texas Real Food as well on Instagram and Facebook. Subscribe. And if you, are so inclined, please leave us a review anywhere you can. Follow us on Spotify or leave a review on Apple Podcast. That would really help us out as well. So if you support, what we're trying to do here. So thanks again for listening. Really do appreciate it. Without you guys, what's the point of doing this? So if you have any suggestions on how we can make the show better, please let us know. All right. Thanks again. Be safe out there. Wash your hands.